Right now, the median American household is earning more money than at any point in recorded history. Yet, at this exact same moment, national savings rates have hit a 17-year low. Read that again. More income than ever, and people are somehow saving less. This isn't an accident. It's a structural transfer of wealth. A quiet, invisible siphon designed to drain the middle class slowly through mechanisms that feel completely normal until you zoom out and realize you've been running on a treadmill while the rules of the game changed mid-play. Today, we decode the 2026 wealth transfer, and more importantly, the brutal math that determines which side of the equation you will land on. Let me give you a number that stopped me cold. According to a Federal Reserve report, the top 10% now control 67% of all household wealth. Not income, wealth. Real estate, stocks, businesses, assets that grow while you sleep. The bottom 50%? They hold about 2.5%. And here's the part nobody talks about. The middle class is caught in the worst position of all. They earn enough to feel financially okay, but they're not building wealth at a rate that actually outpaces the system. Honestly, I find that scarier than poverty statistics, because poverty is visible. This is invisible. The mechanism driving this is what I'd call silent dilution. Your salary went up 4.2% last year. Great. But the S&P 500 returned 26% in a single year. Real estate in major metros appreciated 8 to 12%. The assets wealthy people own didn't just beat inflation, they lapped it. You ran, they were in a car. And the cruel part, the middle class is working harder to stay in the same place, not because they're doing anything wrong, but because the rules of the game changed mid-play and nobody sent a memo. Ray Dalio, founder of the world's largest hedge fund, wrote something that I keep coming back to. He said, the biggest economic risk isn't a market crash, it's the slow erosion of the middle class's ability to own productive assets. That's playing out right now, in real time. Here's a number that should be in every school's curriculum. 57% of Americans own stock. Sounds decent, right? But the median stock portfolio for a middle-class household is under $52,000. Meanwhile, the top 1% own 38% of all equities in the country. The middle class is in the market. They're just in it in a way that barely moves the needle on their actual net worth. And real estate, the only asset the middle class traditionally used to build generational wealth, is now being systematically absorbed by institutional investors. Giant firms collectively owned over 300,000 single-family homes recently, and they're not selling. Why would they? When you own the house someone rents, you collect the wealth that renter can never build. Here's the part that genuinely surprised me. Owning a home is not automatically a path to wealth. A study from the National Bureau of Economic Research found that between 1970 and 2020, homes in most major cities returned about 1.5% annually after inflation. The stock market returned roughly 7% after inflation over the same period. The wealthy know this. That's why they buy homes for other people to live in and invest the difference. Nobody tells you that part. I genuinely don't know why. There's a psychological dimension to this. The middle class was sold a specific version of success. Good job, nice car, bigger house every 5 years. Follow the steps, you'll be fine. The problem is every single item on that list is designed to move money out of your hands and into someone else's assets. Car depreciation hits the second you drive off the lot. Mortgage interest, on a standard 30-year mortgage at 7%, you pay nearly double the home's purchase price by the time you're done. The financial system is extraordinarily good at capturing income before it can become wealth. The middle class isn't financially failing, it's financially occupied, every dollar already spoken for before it has a chance to work. Let's go somewhere that does this better. Singapore, a country with zero natural resources where wealth building is not optional, it's infrastructure. Every worker contributes 20% of their salary automatically, and employers add another 17%. Switzerland takes a similar approach, holding the highest median household wealth on Earth, over $170,000 per adult. Not because the Swiss are smarter, because the system forces saving before spending is ever an option. Japan is even more interesting. They resist lifestyle inflation. The concept of motonai, or don't waste what has value, produces a population that buys less and quietly accumulates more. But the American spend to stimulate the economy philosophy is excellent for GDP numbers and terrible for individual household balance sheets. So why does 2026 matter specifically? There's a transfer happening. $84 trillion in wealth is moving from baby boomers to the next generation by 2045. It's the largest intergenerational wealth transfer in history. But here is the catch. 42% of it, roughly $35 trillion, will flow to households that already have over $1 million in assets. People who already have. The middle class receives cash, which gets consumed on vacations or renovations. It doesn't compound. It disappears. Meanwhile, in 2026, interest rates are beginning to shift again. When rates drop, asset prices rise. The people who held assets will see them appreciate. The people who were locked out will find themselves priced out again. It's a loop, and it rewards whoever was already inside when it started. Look, there is no single trade that fixes this. No crypto bet, no side hustle gospel. But there are structural shifts. Income is what you earn. Wealth is what compounds while you're not watching. They are not the same. In 2026, the most powerful shift you can make is changing the question you ask about every dollar. Not what do I want, but slowly, how long will this dollar work for me if I don't touch it? The middle class was never eliminated through a single dramatic event. It's happening through 1,000 individually reasonable decisions that collectively drain your time. The 2026 wealth transfer isn't a conspiracy, it's just math. And math doesn't care about fairness. The question isn't whether this is happening, the question is which side of the equation you're on, and whether you chose it or whether it was chosen for you without anyone ever asking.